What happens when life hands you a betrayal so cruel it feels like the end of your world, only for it to become the beginning of something extraordinary? Picture this: a woman abandoned by her husband in a foreign land, left with nothing but shattered trust and unanswered questions. But instead of crumbling, she rises. This is not just a tale of heartbreak, it's a story of resilience, reinvention, and redemption. From the sun-drenched olive groves of Greece to the quiet strength found in unexpected places, this journey will take you through laughter, tears, and triumphs that prove even the deepest wounds can birth unparalleled freedom. Are you ready to witness how one act of cruelty transformed into an unforgettable chapter of liberation? What happens when life hands you a betrayal so cruel it feels like the end of your world, only for it to become the beginning of something extraordinary? Picture this: a woman abandoned by her husband in a foreign land, left with nothing but shattered trust and unanswered questions. But instead of crumbling, she rises. This is not just a tale of heartbreak, it's a story of resilience, reinvention, and redemption. From the sun-drenched olive groves of Greece to the quiet strength found in unexpected places, this journey will take you through laughter, tears, and triumphs that prove even the deepest wounds can birth unparalleled freedom. Are you ready to witness how one act of cruelty transformed into an unforgettable chapter of liberation? It was supposed to be a romantic getaway, a chance for Gloria and her husband Roman to reconnect after years of growing apart. But what started as a picturesque journey through the rolling hills and cobblestone streets of Tuscany turned into a nightmare that would change Gloria's life forever. The couple had joined Roman's college friends on their annual reunion trip, a tradition that Gloria had reluctantly agreed to attend. She had never felt entirely comfortable among Roman's old buddies, who seemed to view her more as an accessory than a person. Still, she had hoped this trip might help mend the cracks forming in their marriage. That hope shattered one fateful evening in a small Italian town. The day began innocently enough. Over lunch at a charming trattoria nestled in the countryside, tensions simmered beneath the surface. Gloria, noticing Roman's increasing reliance on alcohol, gently suggested they return to their hotel before he drank too much. What should have been a harmless comment ignited a firestorm. Roman's friends, egging him on with jibes about how controlling a Gloria was, fueled his anger. The argument escalated quickly, spilling out onto the narrow street outside the cafe. Words flew like daggers, years of resentment bubbling to the surface. Roman accused Gloria of suffocating him, while she countered that he had slowly stripped away her independence over the course of their decade-long marriage. What happened next left Gloria stunned. As the fight reached its peak, Roman sneered, "You're so smart, figure it out yourself," before climbing into the driver's seat of their rental car. His friends laughed, thinking it was all part of the joke. They revved the engine and sped off, leaving Gloria standing frozen in the middle of the deserted street. Her purse, with her passport, credit cards, and phone, was still inside the car. The taillights disappeared around the bend, taking with them not just her belongings but also any illusion of security she had left. At first, Gloria convinced herself it was a prank. Surely, Roman would realize how cruel it was and come back. But as minutes stretched into hours, reality sank in. The quaint Italian town that had seemed so enchanting by day now felt menacing under the cover of darkness. Locals eating dinner at sidewalk tables cast curious glances her way, but no one approached. Stranded without money or resources, Gloria found herself trapped in a foreign country where she didn't even know how to pronounce the name of the town. Panic clawed at her chest as she realized this wasn't just a momentary lapse of judgment, it was a calculated act of humiliation. Desperate, Gloria wandered the streets until she stumbled upon a dingy pension above a bakery. With €80 and $37 in cash, it was the only place she could afford. The elderly woman who showed her to the room spoke no English but offered her a sympathetic pat on the arm. Alone in the tiny, musty space, Gloria stared at her phone, making 27 unanswered calls to Roman. Each voicemail sent straight to his inbox confirmed her worst fear: he wasn't coming back. By morning, her initial disbelief had given way to a crushing sense of betrayal. This wasn't just abandonment, it was a deliberate attempt to teach her a lesson about dependence. But what Roman didn't anticipate was how far Gloria would go to survive. That night, as rain pattered against the window, she made a decision that would alter the course of her life. She couldn't return home, not yet. Instead, she boarded an overnight bus heading south, clutching a one-way ticket to a remote coastal village in Greece. It was a desperate move, driven by instinct rather than logic. Little did she know, this impulsive decision would lead her to a new beginning, one she could never have imagined. The journey to Greece was long and grueling, each mile stretching Gloria further from the life she once knew. Exhaustion clung to her like a second skin as she stepped off the final bus into the humid embrace of a Greek coastal village. The air smelled of salt and olive groves, mingling with the faint aroma of freshly baked bread wafting from nearby bakeries. Despite the idyllic setting, Gloria felt anything but at peace. Her body ached from the uncomfortable seats, her stomach churned from hunger, and the weight of her circumstances pressed heavily on her shoulders. Yet, amidst the chaos within her mind, there was a flicker of something unexpected: freedom. For the first time in years, she was untethered from Roman's control, free to make her own choices, no matter how uncertain they seemed. Her arrival in the village was marked by disorientation. The signs were written in Greek, a language she barely understood, and the locals moved about their routines with an ease that highlighted her outsider status. She wandered aimlessly, her blistered feet throbbing inside impractical sandals meant for sightseeing, not wandering aimlessly through rugged terrain. Dehydration and emotional exhaustion blurred her vision, and as she staggered toward what appeared to be the town centre, her legs gave out beneath her. Collapsing near an olive grove, Gloria surrendered to the overwhelming fatigue that had been building since Roman drove away. Just as darkness edged her consciousness, a voice cut through the haze. Phosmo Kira, called out a woman, her weathered hands gently turning Gloria over. An elderly face swam into focus, lined with deep wrinkles but framed by kind eyes filled with concern. The woman spoke rapidly in Greek, offering a canteen of cool water that revived Gloria enough to sit up. Though her head still spun violently, she managed to grasp the situation. The woman introduced herself as Grace, pointing to herself and repeating her name. Gloria mimicked the gesture weakly, too drained to offer more than a faint nod. Grace helped Gloria to her feet, her small frame surprisingly strong as she supported her weight. She pointed toward a stone farmhouse nestled among the olive trees and gestured for Gloria to follow. Too exhausted to resist, Gloria allowed herself to be guided up the hill. Inside the farmhouse, the kitchen welcomed her with the scent of herbs hanging from wooden beams and something savory bubbling on an ancient stove. Grace settled Gloria at a worn wooden table before calling out to someone. Moments later, an elderly man with a sun-darkened face and silver mustache appeared in the doorway, wiping his hands on a cloth. "Aiden," Grace explained, introducing her husband, who nodded cautiously but not unkindly. They offered Gloria cool water and a bowl of simple soup, the aroma of which made her stomach growl audibly. That evening passed in a blur of broken communication. Gloria tried to explain her situation through a combination of limited words, hand gestures, and eventually tears. Grace nodded as if she understood completely, though Gloria knew she couldn't possibly grasp the details. Aiden remained quiet but attentive, occasionally asking questions that Grace translated through gestures. When bedtime arrived, they led Gloria to their spare room, a simple space with whitewashed walls and a narrow bed covered by a handmade quilt. Too tired to protest, she collapsed into much-needed sleep. Morning brought the rooster's crow and the aroma of fresh bread. Clean clothes folded at the foot of her bed, a simple cotton dress and cardigan that looked decades old but freshly laundered, offered a welcome change from her travel-worn outfit. In the kitchen, Grace beamed at her appearance, immediately serving strong coffee and fresh bread with olive oil and honey. As daylight cleared her mind, embarrassment crept in. These strangers had taken her in without question, fed her, clothed her. She needed to explain herself, to offer payment, to move on. Through broken English and the translation app on her phone, now charged thanks to an adapter Aidan had produced, Gloria attempted to convey her gratitude and intention to leave. Grace's face fell immediately. She shook her head vigorously, pointing outside where rain now pattered against the windows, then to Gloria's still blistered feet. "Stay," she insisted, one of the few English words she knew. Gloria hesitated, guilt washing over her as she noticed the wounded expression on Grace's face. The elderly woman took her hand and led her to a small wooden box on the mantel, opening it to reveal photographs. Her fingers trembled as she pointed to a young woman with Grace's eyes and Aidan's smile. "Sophia," as she said softly, then pointed far away, "Australia." Her eyes filled with tears as she made a cradling motion with her arms, indicating a child. "Grandbaby," she managed in English, pointing to a more recent photo of an infant. Gloria understood then. Grace saw in her a surrogate for her absent daughter, a presence to fill the hollow space left behind. Instead of feeling manipulated, Gloria's heart ached for Grace's loss. She nodded slowly and returned her purse to the hook by the door. Little did she know, this decision to stay would mark the beginning of a transformation she could never have anticipated. That first night in the farmhouse was fraught with tension. As Gloria lay in the unfamiliar bed, the silence of the rural village pressed down on her like a heavy blanket. Every creak of the wooden floorboards, every distant bark of a dog, sent her heart racing. She couldn't shake the feeling that she was intruding, that Grace and Aidan might regret their generosity once they realized the burden she posed. Just as sleep began to claim her, a loud crash echoed through the house. Startled, Gloria bolted upright, her pulse pounding in her ears. Was it an intruder? Had someone followed her from Italy? Heart racing, she crept to the doorway, peering into the dimly lit hallway. There, she saw Aidan bent over a toppled chair, muttering in Greek. He glanced up, startled by her presence, and quickly righted the chair with an apologetic smile. Relief flooded Gloria, but the incident left her shaken. It became clear that her journey was far from over, and neither was the uncertainty that came with it. Days turned into weeks as Gloria integrated into the rhythm of farm life. Yet, the language barrier often left her feeling isolated. One afternoon, while helping Grace prepare dinner, Gloria misunderstood a crucial instruction. Thinking she was being asked to add salt, she accidentally poured sugar into a savory dish. The resulting meal was inedible, and Grace's disappointment was palpable. For Gloria, it was a humbling reminder of how much she still had to learn, and how vulnerable she remained in this new world. One evening, as Gloria sat knitting with Grace and Aidan, a knock at the door interrupted their quiet routine. A tall, imposing man stood outside, speaking rapidly in Greek. Grace's expression darkened, and Aidan stepped forward protectively. Though Gloria couldn't understand the conversation, the tension in the room was palpable. Later, Grace explained haltingly that the man was a distant relative demanding money owed by Sophia. The encounter left Gloria uneasy, realizing that even in this seemingly idyllic village, trouble lurked just beneath the surface. As days turned into weeks, Gloria began to settle into the rhythm of life on the olive farm. Each morning began with the chorus of roosters and the golden light of dawn filtering through the shutters of the farmhouse. Grace and Aidan wasted no time in teaching her the intricacies of their daily routines. At first, the tasks seemed overwhelming, gathering eggs from chickens, hanging laundry to catch the mountain breeze, identifying weeds among the vegetables, but Gloria soon discovered a profound satisfaction in these simple acts of labor. Unlike her carefully curated existence in Boston, where exercise routines were measured and chores outsourced. This work demanded everything she had. Calluses formed on her hands, muscles she didn't know existed began to ache, and her body transformed in ways she hadn't anticipated. The physical toll was matched only by the emotional growth Gloria experienced. In Boston, her days had been consumed by managing social calendars, attending events designed to bolster Roman's career, and suppressing her own aspirations. Here, amid the olive groves and sun-drenched fields, she found herself liberated from those constraints. The constant mental cycling through her abandonment, the anger, the fear, the shame, began to quiet. It was replaced by the immediate concerns of farm tasks, ensuring the goats were milked, checking the irrigation system, or preparing meals with ingredients sourced directly from the land. Grace became her primary mentor, guiding her through the nuances of rural life with infinite patience. On one memorable afternoon, Gloria learned to knit, a skill that initially seemed impossibly tedious. Her first attempts resulted in uneven rows and dropped stitches, earning gentle laughter from Grace. Yet, when Gloria completed her first lumpy scarf, she wrapped it around her neck with more pride than she'd felt wearing the designer cashmere Roman had gifted her for Christmas. Each handmade item, the scarf, a clay mug shaped under Aidan's guidance, a woven basket taught by a neighbor, carried stories of perseverance and connection that no purchased luxury ever could. Aidan, too, played a pivotal role in Gloria's transformation. While Grace focused on domestic skills, Aidan introduced her to the art of olive farming. Their lessons took place in the groves, where centuries-old trees stood like silent witnesses to history. Aidan demonstrated the proper technique for harvesting olives, using wooden rakes to gently comb the branches so the fruit would fall onto nets spread below. Gloria's first attempts were clumsy, sending twigs and leaves showering down along with precious few olives. But Aidan corrected her mistakes with patient encouragement, teaching her to recognize the subtle signs of disease in the trees and the optimal time for harvest based on soil variations. By mid-morning on her first day of serious work, Gloria's shoulders burned with exertion, and her citisoft hands developed blisters. Yet, Grace appeared at lunchtime with a homemade salve scented with herbs and beeswax, spreading it across Gloria's raw skin with tender care. Tomorrow better, as she promised, and surprisingly, she was right. Beyond the physical work, the simplicity of their meals revealed how disconnected Gloria had been from real nourishment. In Boston, her diet consisted of processed foods and restaurant takeout, chosen for convenience rather than quality. Here, every ingredient came from their land or neighboring farms, vegetables still warm from the sun, eggs collected that morning, cheese from the goats down the road. The flavors were vibrant and clean, needing little enhancement beyond olive oil, lemon, and herbs from Grace's garden. Gloria's body responded visibly to this change. The designer clothes she'd brought with her grew loose as unnecessary weight melted away, replaced by lean muscle. Her complexion, once maintained through expensive creams, glowed naturally from honest sweat and the use of simple olive oil soap. One evening, as Gloria sat on the small porch watching the sunset paint the Aegean waters gold and pink, she realized something remarkable. She no longer felt like the same person who had arrived in Greece months earlier. The betrayal still cut deep, but here, surrounded by ancient olive trees and the rhythm of rural life, it began to feel less like the end of her story and more like the beginning of an unexpected chapter. She thought back to Roman's controlling behavior, his subtle discouragement of her friendships, his dismissive attitude toward her career aspirations, and realized how much of herself she had surrendered to keep the peace. Now, in this humble corner of the world, she was rediscovering pieces of herself she had long forgotten. Yet, Gloria's transformation wasn't without challenges. One particularly grueling day, during the height of the olive harvest, she pushed herself too hard. The sun blazed overhead, and her movements became sluggish as dehydration set in. Aidan noticed immediately, pulling her aside and insisting she rest in the shade. As she sipped water and watched the others continue working, a wave of inadequacy washed over her. She had always prided herself on competence, on being the perfect spouse and hostess. Here, she was learning that true strength wasn't about perfection. It was about resilience, about showing up even when you weren't your best. That night, as Gloria lay in bed reflecting on the day, Grace entered the room carrying a small wooden box. Inside were photographs of Sophia, her absent daughter, alongside letters and mementos. Grace gestured for Gloria to sit beside her, flipping through the images with trembling fingers. Though Gloria couldn't fully understand the stories behind each picture, the emotion in Grace's voice transcended language barriers. It struck Gloria then that her presence wasn't just about filling a void, it was about forging a new kind of family, one built on mutual respect and shared effort. By the time 3 months had passed, Gloria had become an integral part of the household. She worked alongside Grace and Aidan with confidence, her technique refined and her strength built. More importantly, she had begun to see herself not as a victim of circumstance, but as someone capable of creating her own path. The olive groves, once foreign and intimidating, now felt like home. And though she knew challenges lay ahead, she faced them with a newfound sense of purpose. 3 months into her stay, Grace and Aidan invited Gloria to join them for dinner at Stavros Taverna, the bustling heart of the village. It was a significant gesture. Until now, Gloria had largely been confined to the farm, her interactions limited to brief exchanges at the market or nods of recognition from villagers passing by. Dressed in a borrowed blouse from Grace, Gloria felt a nervous flutter as they entered the establishment. Stavros greeted the couple with enthusiastic embraces before turning curious eyes to Gloria. "Our American," a Grace announced proudly in Greek, a phrase Gloria had learned to recognize. Stavros smiled warmly, ushering them to what was clearly their regular table. The meal progressed pleasantly, plates of grilled fish and village wine flowing freely. Yet, midway through dessert, Aidan cleared his throat and addressed Gloria in careful English. "We want to talk business with you." His seriousness caught her off guard. Had she made some mistake? Was it time for her to move on? Grace reached across the table, patting her hand reassuringly before continuing where her husband left off. "We old now, 68, 70 years. She pointed between herself and Aidan. "No children here. Sophia not coming back." Aidan nodded solemnly. "We think retire soon, 2, 3 years. But olive trees," he made a sweeping gesture. 200 years old. Need young hands." Gloria's breath caught as she began to understand. Grace smiled, her eyes crinkling at the corners. "You learn fast. Work hard. We teach everything." Then she spread her hands as if offering something sacred. "Business yours." The proposition stunned Gloria. They barely knew her, a foreigner who had stumbled into their lives just months ago, yet here they were, offering a future she hadn't dared imagine. "But I don't know enough," as she stammered. "The trees, the pressing, the business side." "You learn," Aidan said firmly. "We teach. No rush." That night marked the beginning of Gloria's true apprenticeship. No longer just an extra pair of hands, she became heir to generations of knowledge. Each morning, Aidan took her through different sections of their groves, explaining how soil variations affected flavor profiles, how to identify early signs of disease, and when precisely to harvest each section for optimal oil quality. Grace focused on teaching her the business records, a combination of handwritten ledgers and basic computer spreadsheets their grandson had set up during a holiday visit years earlier. Her method of tracking expenses and income was functional but outdated. Seeing an opportunity to contribute beyond physical labor, Gloria spent evenings updating their systems, creating digital records that made inventory and sales tracking simpler. One night, She demonstrated to Grace how to filter the spreadsheet to show which oil varieties sold best at which markets. Grace's eyes widened as patterns emerged from the numbers. Smart, as she nodded approvingly. Boston lady brain good for business. With their blessing, Gloria began implementing small marketing improvements. Their hand-labeled bottles received updated tags with information about flavor profiles and food pairings, knowledge she'd gleaned from countless cooking lessons with Grace. She created a simple brochure about their traditional methods, answering the questions tourists frequently asked at their market stand. Her improving Greek helped forge connections beyond Grace and Aidan's immediate circle. The pharmacist who provided Grace's blood pressure medication began stopping by their market stall for conversations that extended beyond transactions. The baker's wife invited her to join her weekly coffee gathering with other village women, an intimidating but invaluable immersion in local language and customs. Stavros from the taverner became an unexpected ally when he began featuring their premium oil as a table offering, placing small jars with their new labels prominently on each table. Good for you. Good for me, he explained with a wink when Gloria thanked him. Word spread, and soon 2 other restaurants in neighboring towns contacted them about supplying their establishments. Gloria's efforts weren't just transforming the business, they were weaving her deeper into the fabric of the community. She attended the baptism of the butcher's granddaughter, her first formal village celebration, standing in the back of the small church as the ritual unfolded. The elderly priest noticed her presence and made a point of greeting her afterward, switching to halting English learned during seminary in Athens. You bring new life to Old Grove, he said, his rheumy eyes twinkling. Good for village. Young people leave for Athens, for America. Village needs new blood. His acceptance seemed to remove the last barrier. Invitations flowed more freely after that, to name day celebrations, impromptu gatherings at the beach, even a village committee meeting about the upcoming summer festival. Each event wove another strand into the web of connection holding her in place. Iris, the weaver whose stall stood beside theirs at the weekly market, became a particular friend. 40-something and widowed young, she possessed a sharp wit and pragmatic outlook that reminded Gloria of her college roommate. Their conversations, conducted in Gloria's improving Greek and Iris's excellent English, ranged from business strategies to village gossip to more personal reflections. You never speak of America, Iris observed one quiet afternoon as they packed up their unsold goods. Family there? Friends? The question pierced Gloria unexpectedly. She had grown so focused on building her new life that she had pushed thoughts of her old one aside. My parents died years ago. A few friends, she trailed off, realizing how Roman had gradually isolated her from her support network, always finding reasons why her college friends were problematic or work colleagues untrustworthy. Iris nodded knowingly. The husband who left you in Italy, you never say his name. Roman, Gloria said, the syllables feeling foreign on her tongue after months of silence. His name is Roman. And he never searched for you. Iris's directness was refreshing after months of Grace and Aidan's gentle avoidance of the topic. I don't know, Gloria admitted. I haven't checked my phone. I've powered it on occasionally to take photos, but I abandoned my American email and social accounts. I wasn't ready to confront whatever might be waiting there. Iris raised an eyebrow, challenging her. Perhaps time to look. Not for him, for you. To close the door properly. Her words stayed with Gloria that evening. After helping Grace prepare dinner, she retreated to her room and powered up her old phone, connecting to the farmhouse's basic Wi-Fi with trembling fingers. She logged into her long-neglected email account, hundreds of unread messages filling the screen. Scanning the senders, she spotted several from old friends, their subject lines evolving from casual check-ins to concerned inquiries. A surge of shame washed over her. She had disappeared from their lives without explanation, just as thoroughly as she had vanished from Roman's. A thread from her former design mentor caught her eye, a job opportunity, followed by increasingly urgent follow-ups. Opening it revealed that her mentor had recommended her for a remote consulting position with a sustainable building materials company. A final email, dated just 2 weeks earlier, indicated the position was still open if she was interested. Before she could consider this unexpected bridge to her former life, another email sender froze her fingers on the screen. Roman Davis, with a subject line, I know where you are. The timestamp showed it had arrived just hours earlier. Heart pounding, Gloria clicked it open. Gloria, it's taken months and a private investigator, but I finally tracked you to that backwater in Greece. This has gone on long enough. I'm coming to bring you home and end this ridiculous tantrum. My flight lands in Athens on Thursday. Be ready. Reading Roman's email sent Gloria reeling. How dare he? After abandoning her, after months without a word, he expected to simply collect her like misplaced luggage. That night, she confided in Grace and Aidan, showing them the email. Grace's jaw tightened as she read it, her protective instincts kicking in. He no decide for you anymore, as she said firmly, tapping the partnership agreement they had recently signed. Gloria nodded, resolve hardening within her. Roman was coming, but he would find a very different woman than the one he had left behind. Over the next few days, Gloria visited Karina, the village's only lawyer, who helped her draft divorce papers in both Greek and English. She also tentatively accepted the remote consulting position, seeing it as a potential lifeline to her past career. Most importantly, she wrote emails to friends she had left behind, offering brief explanations without apologies. By Thursday, she was emotionally fortified, ready to face whatever Roman might throw at her. Thursday arrived with a perfect Greek summer sky, cloudless and bright. Gloria was in the processing shed testing olive oil samples with Aidan when the unfamiliar sound of a rental car engine broke the afternoon quiet. Grace appeared at the doorway, her expression a mixture of concern and resolve. He is here, she said simply. Heart hammering, Gloria wiped her hands on her work apron and stepped outside. Roman stood beside a sleek silver sedan, designer sunglasses perched on his perfectly coiffed hair, examining the humble farmhouse with visible distaste. Wearing the casual but expensive travel outfit Gloria recognized from countless business trips, he didn't notice her at first, giving her precious seconds to steady herself. This man who had once been the center of her universe now looked somehow smaller, less substantial against the backdrop of ancient olive trees and weathered stone buildings that had become her home. Roman, she called, her voice calmer than expected. He turned, and the shock that registered on his face was almost comical. His eyes traveled from her work boots to her sun-browned arms, lingering on her unstyled hair pulled back in a simple chignon. Recognition battled with disbelief across his features. My God, Gloria, what happened to you? He asked, his familiar disapproving tone washing over her like a wave against rock. Life happened, as she replied, taking measured steps toward him. What are you doing here, Roman? He removed his sunglasses, his practiced charm sliding into place as he extended his arms. I've come to take you home, of course. This has gone on long enough, don't you think? Whatever point you were trying to make. This isn't about making a point, Gloria interrupted, stopping well outside his reach. This is about making a life. Roman's smile faltered. Behind her, Grace and Aidan emerged from the house, positioning themselves within view, silent guardians ready to intervene if needed. Roman noticed them, his expression hardening. Are these the people you've been staying with? Have they been holding you here? They've been teaching me, Gloria cut in. About olive farming, about community, about kindness without conditions. She gestured toward the groves surrounding them. I'm part owner now. I have a business here. Disbelief crossed his face, followed quickly by condescension. A business, Gloria? Be serious. You're a designer, not a farmer. This is some eat, pray, love phase after our fight. I admit, I shouldn't have left you in Italy. It was a stupid, drunken mistake. I've apologized. Now it's time to come home. You've apologized? Gloria echoed. When? In what universe does tracking me down and demanding I return count as an apology? His jaw tightened, the charm evaporating. Fine. I'm sorry I left you in Italy. It was immature and wrong. Is that what you want to hear? Can we move past this now? Why did you even look for me, Roman? It's been months. Why now? He shifted uncomfortably, glancing at the elderly couple watching them intently. Can we discuss this privately? In the car, perhaps? They don't speak English, and I have nothing to hide from them. Why now? His shoulders slumped slightly. Your parents have been quarreling. Friends asking questions at events. Clients wondering why you're not at the house when they visit. It looks, or bad for your image. For my image? Gloria finished for him. For our image, he corrected sharply. For our life together, the one we built over 10 years of marriage. The one you built, Gloria countered. The one where I gradually became nothing more than an accessory to your success. Tell me, Roman, did you even notice how unhappy I was before Italy? Did you care? His expression darkened. We had a good life, Gloria, a beautiful home, financial security, respect in the community. What more could you possibly want? Purpose. Connection. Agency over my own choices. She gestured to the small stone house behind her. I found all three here, in a place you dismiss as primitive and backward. This isn't you, a Roman insisted, desperation edging into his voice. The Gloria I know wouldn't choose manual labor and poverty over comfort and precision. Gloria smiled, recognizing the fundamental truth in his statement. You're right. The Gloria you knew wouldn't have. But that woman died in Italy when her husband abandoned her as a joke. The woman standing before you made different choices. Grace approached then, pressing something into Gloria's hand, the partnership agreement they had signed. Though she couldn't follow their words, she had sensed the moment had come. Gloria unfolded the document and held it toward Roman. I have legal ties here now, a business partnership, responsibilities to people who value me for my contributions, not my appearance or social connections. Roman's face flushed with anger. This is ridiculous. Whatever game you're playing. It's not a game, Gloria said, reaching into her pocket for the envelope Karina had prepared. These are divorce papers, Roman. Already filed, with provisions for division of assets. He stared at the envelope as if it might burn him. You can't be serious. You'd throw away everything for this? He gestured dismissively at the modest farm. I'm not throwing away anything, Gloria replied. I'm choosing something better, something real. She stepped forward, placing the envelope in his rigid hand. You left me, Roman. You drove away laughing. You just never expected I'd find my way without you. His fingers closed reflexively around the papers, his expression cycling through shock, anger, and finally wounded pride. You'll regret this, he said, but the threat sounded hollow even to his own ears. Maybe, Gloria conceded. But I'd rather risk regret from choices I made than live with the certainty of regret from choices made for me. Aidan stepped forward then, placing a weathered hand on Gloria's shoulder. Though he couldn't understand their exchange, he recognized the conclusion in their body language. He said something in Greek to Roman, his tone firm but not unkind. "What did he say?" Roman asked, his voice smaller now. "He said the road back to Athens is dangerous after dark. You should leave now to reach the city before nightfall." Roman looked between them, finally registering that this wasn't a negotiation or a rescue. Without another word, he returned to his rental car, the divorce papers clutched in his hand. As the vehicle disappeared down the dirt road, Grace slipped her hand into Gloria's. Together, the three of them turned toward the house, Gloria's house now, too. The evening's work awaited, oil samples to catalogue, dinner to prepare, tomorrow's market inventory to check. Her husband had once abandoned her in a foreign country, assuming she'd be helpless without him. Instead, she had found fertile ground to plant new roots, stronger and deeper than he could have imagined. Sometimes, the cruelest actions yield the greatest gifts. Trying to break her, Roman had accidentally set her free. The confrontation with Roman was not merely a climactic moment. It was the culmination of Gloria's journey from victimhood to empowerment. Standing in the shadow of the ancient olive groves, she faced her past head-on, armed with the tools she had painstakingly acquired over months of hard work and self-discovery. Roman's arrival had been a test, a trial by fire, and Gloria emerged stronger, her resolve unshakable. Yet, as she watched his rental car disappear down the dusty road, she realized that the battle wasn't truly over. The scars of Roman's betrayal ran deep, and while his physical presence was gone, the emotional echoes of their shared history lingered. In the days following his departure, Gloria found herself revisiting moments from their marriage, dissecting them with a clarity she had never possessed before. She remembered the subtle ways Roman had controlled her, how he had discouraged her friendships, dismissed her career aspirations, and gradually eroded her independence. These memories, once sources of pain and confusion, now served as fuel for her determination to build a life entirely her own. With Roman's exit, she felt a weight lift from her shoulders, but she also understood that true liberation required more than cutting ties. It demanded a conscious effort to reclaim her identity and redefine her future. The divorce papers, now in Roman's possession, symbolized more than the legal dissolution of their marriage. To Gloria, they represented a declaration of autonomy, a tangible assertion that she was no longer defined by her relationship to him. She spent hours poring over the documents, ensuring every detail aligned with her vision for a new beginning. The division of assets, once a source of anxiety, became an opportunity to sever financial dependencies that had tethered her to Roman for years. With the help of Karina, she negotiated terms that prioritized fairness and independence, securing her share of their joint property and investments. For the first time in a decade, Gloria felt in control of her financial destiny. Grace and Aidan played a pivotal role during this period, offering unwavering support and guidance. They had witnessed Gloria's transformation firsthand and understood the magnitude of her achievement. On the evening after Roman's departure, Grace handed Gloria a small wooden box containing mementos of Sophia, her absent daughter. "She would have liked you," Grace said softly, her voice thick with emotion. "Strong, like her." The gesture was deeply symbolic, affirming Gloria's place within their family and solidifying her role as a steward of the olive farm. Aidan, too, expressed his approval, presenting her with a weathered journal filled with notes on olive cultivation techniques passed down through generations. "For you," he said simply, his eyes shining with pride. These tokens of trust and belonging reinforced Gloria's commitment to her new life, anchoring her to the land and the people who had embraced her. As the weeks passed, Gloria threw herself into her work with renewed vigor. The olive harvest season was approaching, and she dedicated herself to mastering every aspect of the process, from pruning the trees to operating the ancient press that extracted oil from the fruit. Her efforts bore fruit, both literally and figuratively. The farm's productivity increased under her leadership, and the quality of their olive oil earned accolades at local markets. Customers praised the rich, nuanced flavors of their products, unaware of the personal journey that had shaped Gloria's approach to farming. For her, each bottle represented not just a livelihood but a testament to resilience and reinvention. Yet, Gloria's transformation extended beyond the farm. She began to explore avenues for personal growth, pursuing opportunities that had once seemed impossible. The remote consulting position offered by her former design mentor became a reality, allowing her to blend her passion for interior design with her newfound expertise in sustainable agriculture. Working remotely, she collaborated with architects and builders to incorporate eco-friendly materials and traditional craftsmanship into modern projects. The fusion of her old and new worlds brought her immense satisfaction, proving that her talents were not confined to either realm but could thrive in harmony. The community, too, embraced Gloria in ways she had never anticipated. Her involvement in village life deepened as she took on leadership roles in local initiatives, from organizing cultural festivals to spearheading environmental conservation efforts. She became a vocal advocate for preserving traditional farming practices, drawing on her experiences to highlight the importance of sustainability and community solidarity. Her peers admired her dedication and resourcefulness, often seeking her advice on matters ranging from business strategies to conflict resolution. Gloria, once an outsider, had become a cornerstone of the village, her presence enriching the lives of those around her. Despite these achievements, Gloria remained acutely aware of the emotional healing that still lay ahead. The wounds inflicted by Roman's betrayal were slow to mend, requiring patience and introspection. She sought solace in the rhythms of rural life, finding comfort in the predictability of sunrise and sunset, the cycles of planting and harvesting, and the enduring beauty of the olive groves. Writing became a therapeutic outlet, allowing her to process her thoughts and emotions. Each journal entry captured a fragment of her journey, chronicling her evolution from a woman defined by her marriage to one who defined herself. Over time, the bitterness she had harbored toward Roman softened, replaced by gratitude for the unintended gift of freedom he had bestowed upon her. As Roman's rental car disappeared into the distance, Gloria felt an overwhelming sense of closure. For months, she had carried the weight of his betrayal like a stone lodged in her chest. Now, with each meter he put between himself and the olive groves, that stone began to dissolve, replaced by a buoyant lightness she hadn't known was possible. Yet, this wasn't just the end of her marriage, it was the beginning of something far greater. In leaving behind the life she once knew, Gloria had unknowingly stepped into a world where resilience and self-discovery became her guiding stars. The days following Roman's departure were marked by a quiet but profound transformation. Gloria threw herself into her work on the farm, finding solace in the rhythmic tasks that connected her to the land. She rose before dawn alongside Grace and Aidan, their shared labor becoming a kind of meditation. The olive trees, ancient and steadfast, seemed to whisper stories of endurance through centuries of changing seasons. As Gloria tended to them, pruning dead branches and nurturing new growth, she couldn't help but see parallels to her own journey. Like the trees, she too had weathered storms, and emerged stronger for it. Her role as a partner in the business deepened as she took on more responsibilities. With Grace and Aidan's guidance, Gloria learned the intricacies of olive oil production, from pressing the harvested fruit to bottling the golden liquid that would eventually grace tables across Greece and beyond. Her marketing efforts bore fruit, literally and figuratively, as orders increased and their products gained recognition at regional fairs. Stavros Taverner continued to feature their premium oil prominently, while 2 additional restaurants in neighboring towns placed regular orders. Gloria even began exploring opportunities to export their products internationally, leveraging her design background to create packaging that told the story of their traditional methods and sustainable practices. But Gloria's contributions extended beyond the farm. Her presence in the village had sparked a ripple effect, inspiring others to embrace change and innovation. She spearheaded a community initiative to restore the old stone well in the village square, organizing fundraisers and rallying volunteers. When the project was completed, the villagers celebrated with a feast under strings of twinkling lights, laughter echoing late into the night. Gloria stood among them, her heart swelling with pride, not because she had orchestrated the effort, but because she had become part of something larger than herself. The friendships she had cultivated over the past months blossomed into a support network unlike any she'd experienced in Boston. Iris, the weaver, became her confidant, offering advice on everything from pricing strategies to navigating local gossip. Together, they brainstormed ways to collaborate, combining Iris's hand-woven baskets with Gloria's olive oil to create gift sets that flew off the shelves at the weekly market. Even Karina, the village lawyer, invited Gloria to join her book club, a lively group of women who gathered monthly to discuss novels ranging from Greek classics to contemporary international bestsellers. These gatherings provided not only intellectual stimulation, but also a chance to practice her Greek in a relaxed setting. One evening, as Gloria sat on the porch knitting a scarf for Grace, her stitches now flawless, she reflected on how much her priorities had shifted. Back in Boston, success had been measured by appearances, the right address, the perfect dinner party, the envy of peers. Here, fulfillment came from tangible achievements, a bountiful harvest, a satisfied customer, a repaired friendship. The superficial concerns that had once consumed her seemed laughably trivial now. And yet, Gloria didn't feel as though she had sacrificed anything. On the contrary, she had gained immeasurably, a sense of purpose, a community that cherished her, and a version of herself she could truly admire. Her decision to accept the remote consulting position offered by her former mentor added another layer to her evolving identity. Working from the farmhouse's sunlit kitchen, Gloria collaborated with architects and builders to incorporate eco-friendly materials and traditional craftsmanship into modern projects. It was a fusion of her old and new worlds, allowing her to honor her professional roots while embracing the values she had discovered in Greece. The flexibility of the role enabled her to balance her commitments to the farm and the village, ensuring that neither aspect of her life overshadowed the other. Yet, Gloria's journey wasn't without its challenges. There were moments when doubt crept in, when the enormity of what she had achieved threatened to overwhelm her. Late one night, as she reviewed spreadsheets detailing the farm's growing profits, she found herself questioning whether she was capable of sustaining this level of responsibility. "What if I fail?" she asked Grace, who sat nearby mending a sweater. Grace paused, needle poised midair, and regarded Gloria with a knowing smile. "Fail is teacher," she said simply. "You fall, you learn. You rise again." Her words resonated deeply, reminding Gloria of the countless times she had stumbled and risen since arriving in Greece. Failure was no longer something to fear, it was a stepping stone on the path to mastery. With renewed determination, Gloria tackled each challenge head-on, trusting in her ability to adapt and grow. By the time autumn arrived, painting the hillsides in hues of gold and crimson, Gloria had fully embraced her new life. The farm thrived under her care, its fields brimming with promise for the coming year. Orders poured in from as far away as London and New York, thanks to the online platform she had developed to showcase their products. Villagers often joked that Gloria had brought the groves back to life, not just through her hard work but through the spirit of renewal she embodied. On a crisp October morning, Gloria stood atop a hill overlooking the olive groves, the Aegean Sea shimmering in the distance. Beside her, Grace and Aidan watched as she planted a sapling, a symbol of hope and continuity. "For Sophia," Gloria said, turning to Grace with a warm smile. "And for all of us." Tears glistened in Grace's eyes as she nodded, her hand finding Gloria's. Aidan clapped a weathered hand on Gloria's shoulder, his expression one of quiet pride. In that moment, Gloria realized she had found what she had always sought, a home. Not a house filled with expensive furnishings or curated decor, but a place where she belonged, a sanctuary built on love, trust, and mutual respect. As the wind rustled through the leaves of the young tree, Gloria felt a profound sense of gratitude, not for Roman's cruelty, but for the unexpected gifts it had unleashed within her. Betrayal had stripped her bare, forcing her to confront the person she had become. But in doing so, it had also revealed the strength and resilience she possessed. From the ashes of her old life, a phoenix had risen, one defined not by loss, but by liberation. Later that evening, as the family gathered around the table for a celebratory meal, Gloria raised a glass of homemade wine. To new beginnings, as she said, her voice steady and sure. And to the people who make them possible. The toast was met with cheers and laughter, the warmth of connection filling the room. Outside, the stars twinkled above the olive groves, silent witnesses to the extraordinary journey of a woman who had transformed pain into power, abandonment into belonging, and betrayal into beauty. And as Gloria drifted off to sleep that night, she knew one thing for certain. She was exactly where she was meant to be. As Gloria stood there, watching Roman's car vanish into the distance, she realized something profound. Sometimes, life's greatest betrayals can lead us to our most unexpected triumphs. Her journey from abandonment to independence is a testament to the power of resilience, self-discovery, and the strength we find in community. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever faced betrayal, hardship, or uncertainty, please consider subscribing to our channel. We share stories just like this one, tales of courage and transformation that remind us all of the incredible potential within each of us. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update, and share this video with someone who might need a little inspiration today. And remember, no matter where life takes you, you have the power to rewrite your story. Thank you for being part of ours. Goodbye for now, and see you again soon.